Be very careful of dream stealers. People that will try and talk you out of something that you really want to do. Dream stealers project their own insecurity onto you. Now let me make something very clear. There is a difference between somebody advising you in a constructive manner, telling you that maybe you should consider this along your journey. Maybe try doing that. Gives you advice, constructive criticism, in the hopes that you take on board that advice and you use it to your advantage to better yourself. That's okay. Don't be offended if somebody constructively criticizes your idea. But there are people who will try and disguise their cynicism and their hate as advice. I wouldn't do that if I was you. I know a lot of people that tried this business before and it didn't work out. And yeah, well, I'm not them. I'm not them. As long as what you're doing, fellas, is moral, legal, and ethical, then go for it. Because even if you don't get what you're after, even if you don't attain the goal, the person that you become in the process is far more important. You would have grown, you would have developed, you would have improved by engaging in the process. But if you never try, you guarantee one thing, that you stay the same. You stay the same. I'm a big advocate of going out there and just rolling up your sleeves and getting involved. You learn shit. You learn about people. You learn about business processes. You learn about potentially tax. You learn about leverage, how to outsource. You learn a lot of shit. Just because you don't get the goal doesn't mean that you haven't learned anything. You're better now. So going into your next venture, assuming the first one doesn't quite work out, you're more knowledgeable, you're wiser. So you're more likely to do well the second time round. But a lot of guys that I speak to don't try because their mum doesn't want them to. You can't be mummy's boy forever. Mum wants to protect and keep you safe and wrap you in bubble wrap. I mean, look, a mother's love is unparalleled, right? But that could be holding you back. You need to go out there as a man. You need to venture out and see what you're capable of achieving. As I said, as long as what you're doing is moral, legal, and ethical, then go for it. As long as no one's being harmed in the process, go after it, man. See what you can do, what you can accomplish, how far you can go. And what is the risk? Let's have a conversation about risk here. What is the risk? What are you worried about? Losing $500, $2,000? Especially if you're in your 20s. It's not the end of the world. Because you should be working in a job throughout your 20s, even if you're dreaming of building a business, because you need to be practical. I'm a realistic guy. I don't live in fairy la-la land. You're not just going to click your fingers and have a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to make calculated moves. You need to be strategic. Keep your job. Your job will fund your dreams. It will. And find a good job as well. Because you don't know how long it's going to take for your business to flourish. For you to start doing well. It could be 5 years, it could be 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, you don't know. So in the meantime, get good at your job. And I would tell you guys to get into sales, because sales is one of the most powerful skills that you can learn. It's so transferable into other avenues of life. You learn about people, negotiation, objection handling. There's so many things that sales teaches you that you can use for your own business. You know, tech sales is really where it's at the moment in terms of the amount of commission you can make. I mean, there's several good companies that you could explore in your local city that you can contact. So that's what I would tell you to do. Keep your job. And if you don't have one, go and get one in sales. And then work on the business on the side. You know, I made a video yesterday. What do you do after 9 to 5? Right? What does the rest of your day look like? It's what you do outside of your job that will determine your future. Right? You know, Jim Rohn used to say, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. And so as soon as you clock out from your job, don't just jump into bed and start jacking off. No. Hit the gym, right? Maybe kick back for half an hour, but then start working on your dreams, on you. Don't give a company 10 of your best hours and then do nothing when it comes to your future. That's unacceptable. And I know you might be tired, especially if you work in sales and you've been making hundreds of calls a day. You just want to lay back, and that's okay. Lay back for half an hour, max an hour. But then it's time to work on you and your dreams. But going back to the sort of original point of this video, don't allow anybody to talk you out of something that you really want to do. There's a lot of insecure guys out there, man. They're intimidated by what you could achieve. They're worried about you. Because right now, you might be at the same sort of level as some of your friends. But when you start doing better, you start to notice who your real friends are. Are they proud of you? Do they celebrate your achievements? Or do they start talking to you in a funny way? Do they start looking at you different? Do they start saying things like you've changed? You know, you're not the same Jack. You're not the same Frank. You're not the same Tony. I'm naming some mobster names right here. Hey, Tony, hey, Frank, right? But you'll start noticing how people, you know, respond to your success, your improvement. And, you know, Jordan Peterson said this, a true friend is somebody that will celebrate your achievements with you, is genuinely happy for you. If you live in abundance, fellas, you recognize that there's enough for everybody to do well. But a lot of guys don't live in abundance. They live in scarcity. So when one of their closest friends starts doing really well, starts making a lot of money, they start getting envious. That jealousy starts circulating around their body. And then they self-sabotage. They ruin the friendship by saying some stupid remarks like, oh, you're not the same, you're not this, you're not that. Don't let their insecurity drag you down to their level again. Don't go back. They want you to go back and, you know, make $2,000 a month and just be that regular dude who, and if that's what they want to do in their life, fine. But if they are envious of you, it's usually because they want more too, but they can't seem to sum up the courage to take action in the same way that you are. Your success reminds them of the things they're not doing. Remember, haters are not people that hate you. They hate themselves. You have simply put a mirror in front of them that shines, that shows them their own reflection. Look at what you're not doing, you fucking procrastinator. That's what they don't like. It's not you. That's why when I get negative comments from time to time on TikTok or, you know, YouTube, which rarely happens because we have an amazing community and I appreciate you all. But, you know, the occasional negative comment doesn't annoy me because I know when somebody leaves a nasty comment, they don't know me personally. They're just mad at themselves because maybe I've said something that reminds them of the things they're not doing, and they're like, shit, this motherfucker got me. And then they proceed to type away, you're fucking this, yeah? Right? So don't let them talk you out of it, man. Let me make this clear as well. Your parents, in most cases, 95% of the time, they want good for you. They're not haters. A lot of guys message me, young guys typically, right, between 17 and 21 or 22, and they'll say my parents are hating on me, and I'm like, they're not. They're just terrified. They grew up in a different time. They didn't grow up in this social media, TikTok, Instagram world. They grew up in a time where a degree was the only way to really make good money, and back then it probably was, right? You know, your CV was really important back in the day. Now things have changed. I'm not saying that you shouldn't improve your CV if you're looking to find a better job. No, of course you should, right? But there are so many avenues to win these days, and that's what's glorious about the 21st century, the time that we're living in right now, 2023. There are so many ways to win. We live in the golden era when it comes to being an entrepreneur, making a lot of money, and even if you just want to have a side income and keep your job, perfectly fine. This is the best time to do it in human history. I'm an absolute optimist, man, and I see it. I see the opportunities with my very own eyes. So don't let anybody talk you out of it, man. If they start saying some negative shit, yeah, cool. And if that's something that continues with your friends, then cut them out. You got to be ruthless, man. You got to be ruthless. You don't need this negative energy around you, man. It will slow you down. It'll infect you. It will. You'll find yourself believing in your vision less and less when you're around these people. Maybe they're right. No, they're not. They're not right. They're saying all this shit because they're insecure and they're worried that you'll leave them behind. And they don't like that. So they'll say some things like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. It's too risky. I've got a friend who lost a lot of money doing it. And if you're a weak bastard, you'll listen. Oh, okay, guys, I guess I shouldn't. What was I thinking? Why did I even think it was possible? It is possible. And if you're 20, 21, 22, you should be worried about risk, man. And when I say risk, I don't mean, jumping off a fucking building with no parachute. No, that's risky. Not all risk is equal, right? But starting a business, investing in a course, I mean, that risk is barely anything. It really is. And like I said, the person you become in the process is far more important than what you attain at the end. Don't do it for the money, guys. I'm speaking to you as an older brother, to some of you guys who are in your early 20s, late teens. Don't do it solely for the money. The money will come as a consequence. The more value you bring to the marketplace, the more money you will make. Focus on value, value, value. How can I provide the best possible service to my customers? How can I make my clothes the highest quality? How can I save my customers time? Start thinking of things like that instead of, I want to buy a Lambo. You'll get the Lambo if you don't worry about it. Remember what Jim Rohn says, success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. It's not something you chase. So seek to become as valuable as possible to the marketplace, and the success will come in abundance. It really will. Okay, and don't worry about when it will happen. I said this in a post I made on YouTube earlier. It will happen when it happens. It will happen when it happens. I don't care. I'm not stressed. I know most people will quit anyways. David Goggins said it. It's so easy to win nowadays because most people are average. Right? It will happen, man. Take a deep breath, relax, focus on providing value. You've got time. If you're in your late teens, early 20s, you've got time. Now, I'm not like Gary Vee where I'll tell a 60-year-old you've got time. No. However, if you're young, you've got to give yourself the time to learn shit. You can't skip the experience. You have to go out there and get it. You can't buy it somewhere. Amazon doesn't sell experience, 20-year package, 30-year package. No, that's not how it works. You've got to go out there. Now, you can learn from other people's experiences, but you still need to experience stuff for yourself. You still need to make the cold calls yourself. You still need to learn how to combat objections, how to negotiate yourself. You can read up on it all you want, but you got to do it yourself. All right? So don't let dream stealers talk you out of the thing that you really want to do, man. Be very wary of these people. And if they are in your life and they keep repeating negative comments, remove them from your life. Don't give them access to you anymore. If it's family, you got to be more understanding. They're just terrified. Okay, now I know some of you guys live in households where maybe they're very negative and they shout quite a lot. Just don't bring up that subject with them anymore. Just go out there, work in silence, get the business going, start making money, and then you can show the success later. It's very hard for them to get mad at you when you're successful, right? But don't let them make you crumble. Right? Relax, man. Work on your business. Don't mention it. If you mention it at family dinners, it starts causing arguments. Just don't mention it anymore. Start working on the business. Get the results. And then when the results start coming in, you can be like, hey, I had my first 10K month, mum and dad. Oh, son, did you really? There you go. So hopefully this video has provided you guys with some value. If it has, make sure you give it a like, comment. Let me know what you think down below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. See you in the next one.